everybody but my wife, spunky little woman, said she would work her fingers off before I should give it up. She worked like a dog while I've been gone, trying to support herself and the children decently. They paid her 13 cents apiece for making coarse shirts, and that's the way she'd live half the time. She'll come down there to the depot to meet me in a gingham dress and a shawl 100 years old, and she'll think she's dressed up. And with these words, he implied that his wife's wardrobe will soon rival Queen Victoria's. I sold my invention in England for £30,000, and the best of it, she doesn't know anything about her. I fooled her so often and disappointed her so much that I concluded I would say nothing about this until I see her. We rolled up to the depot, and I placed myself on the other car. I looked from his face to the faces of the people before us, but saw no sign of recognition. Suddenly, he cried, "There they are!" and laughed in that hysterical sort of way of his. I followed his eyes and saw some distance back, as if crowded out and shouldered away by the well-dressed and elbowing throng, a little woman in a faded dress and a well-worn hat, with a face almost painful in its intense but hopeful expression. She didn't look pretty. On the contrary, she looked very plain, but somehow I felt a big lump rise in my throat as I watched her. The strong man gathered her up in his arms as if she had been a baby and held her sobbing to his breast. There was enough gaping at them, heaven knows, and I turned my eyes away a moment. When I looked back at the stranger again, he had his hat drawn over his eyes, but his wife was looking up at him, and it seemed as if the pent-up tears of all those weary months of waitings were streaming through her eyelids. The following is given as a preventative of horses being teased by flies. Take 2 or 3 small handfuls of walnut leaves, upon which pour 2 or 3 quarts of cold water. Let it infuse one night, and pour the whole next morning into a kettle, and let it boil for 1/4 of an hour. When cold, it will be fit for use. No more is required than to moisten a sponge, and before the horse goes out of the stable, let those parts which are most irritable be smeared over with it. Not only the gentleman or lady who rides out with pleasure will derive pleasure from the walnut leaves thus prepared, but the coachman, the wagoner, and all other who use horses during the hot months. Just arrived another lot of German Zephyr worsteds at Dow's. Ladies will find the most complete assortment in very choice shades in any quantity. Also, a great variety of paper patterns for working with canvas of all kinds. Ladies using large quantity of worsteds get a liberal reduction. Grave clothes in every style on hand and made to order at Dow's. Agents wanted for the brilliant, witty book The Mimic World and Public Exhibitions by Olive Logan. Pleases everybody, will sell immensely, is genial, jaunty, and pure-toned. Latham's Cathartic Extract for purifying the blood, a positive cure for dyspepsia, constipation, indigestion, bilious complaints, and all diseases having their origin in the impure state of the blood. 50 cents. If a man wants a bottle of whiskey, let him buy it and take it home like a man, and not sneak home with a bottle of bitters or cordial and pretend that it's medicine. If he wants a tonic that is something better than a temporary stimulant, he should get a bottle of Peruvian syrup, an iron tonic that will vitalize the blood and give durable strength to the system. Around home. About 6 minutes before 1 o'clock Thursday morning, our inhabitants were roused from their slumbers and sensibly shaken by a shock of an earthquake. Buildings appeared to tremble, windows and stoves rattled, vases were knocked from mantels in some places, dogs barked, and from east to west there was a general swaying of things earthly for about 2 minutes. The shock somewhat resembled the rumbling of a heavily loaded team over frozen ground, and was felt throughout this and most of the New England states. It is said that another slighter shock will be felt about 4 o'clock.